Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah.
This time we're looking at the most anticipated science fiction and fantasy books of 2025.
Ooh, exciting.
I know, right? So much good stuff coming out next year.
Yeah, and have you noticed any trends in the list this year?
Well, one thing that jumped out at me is this idea of familiar but twisted.
Yeah.
Like taking these classic concepts, whether it's mythology or certain tropes, and giving them this fresh, almost unexpected spin.
Like a remix.
Exactly. And it looks like we've got some potential award winners in the mix as well.
Oh, for sure. This list is curated by experts, so you know these are going to be the books everyone's talking about.
Okay, well, let's jump right in. The first one that caught my eye is Katabasis, a novel by R.F. Kuang.
Oh, Kuang. She's amazing.
Yeah, she's quickly becoming a huge name in fantasy, especially after Babel.
Right. Babel was incredible, the way she tackled colonialism and power structure.
So thought-provoking.
And it sounds like Katabasis is going to be just as powerful, but this time she's exploring academia.
Oh, interesting. So is it like a magical school?
Sort of. The main character, Alice, she literally journeys to the underworld.
Whoa, hold on. To the underworld.
Yeah.
Like Hades and Persephone.
Yeah, exactly. But she's chasing after her deceased mentor's ghost, all for a chance to succeed in this cutthroat magical world.
Okay, so it's ambition, but with like life or death stakes.
Exactly. It makes you wonder, what lines wouldn't you cross to achieve your goals?
Right. Kuang really seems to tap into those universal desires, but in a fantastical and potentially terrifying way.
And that exploration of ambition and its price, that seems to be popping up in a few other books on this list as well.
Maybe it's reflecting something about our own times.
It's possible.
Now let's move on to Babylonia, a novel by Costanza Casadei.
Casadei. I loved her debut novel.
Me too. So this time she's moving away from Greek myths and delving into Mesopotamian mythology.
Yeah, which is so refreshing to see.
Definitely. We don't get enough of that.
And the story follows Semiramis, a woman who rises from obscurity to become a powerful figure in the Assyrian Empire.
It sounds epic.
Yeah.
But tackling a figure like Semiramis, who's both revered and controversial, that could be tricky.
Oh, absolutely. Casadei will have to navigate those complexities carefully. You know, the historical debates surrounding Semiramis' reign.
Right, and how she's been portrayed in different sources over time.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how she balances the historical record with her own creative interpretation.
Okay, I'm adding that to my list for sure. Next up, we have Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab.
Schwab. Oh, I love her work. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue was just
magical. Right, so this one is her first foray into vampire fiction.
Really? I had no idea.
Yeah, and it spans centuries and continents.
Wow.
And early reviews are hinting at some intense relationships.
Ooh, juicy.
But potentially toxic, too, especially between women.
I see. Schwab's definitely not afraid to explore the darker sides of love and desire.
Especially within a vampire world. So do you think we're seeing a resurgence of vampire stories?
Maybe. We've had a few pop up recently.
But these new ones seem to have more complex characters.
Yeah, more nuanced. They're not just the stereotypical bloodsuckers anymore.
It's like they're reflecting our own anxieties about mortality and the darker side of human nature.
Especially in a world that feels increasingly uncertain.
Right. So maybe vampires are the perfect metaphor for our times.
Possibly.
I can't wait to see how Schwab tackles all of this.
Me neither. I have a feeling it's going to be good.
Okay, on to the next one. When the Moon Hits Your Eye by John Scalzi.
Scalzi. Now this should be interesting.
He's a master of sci-fi, and this time he's taking a classic folktale, but with a twist.
A twist? What kind of twist?
Well, imagine waking up one day and finding out that the moon is a giant cheese wheel.
A cheese wheel? Seriously?
Yep, you heard that right.
Okay, that's out there.
Even for Scalzi.
But he's known for his humor and social commentary, so I'm betting there's more to it than just cheese.
Right, he always has a deeper message.
Remember Red Shirts?
Oh yeah, he took that Star Trek trope and turned it into a commentary on storytelling.
Exactly. So I think When the Moon Hits Your Eye is going to be more than just a fun romp. I agree. It'll probably make us question our own beliefs and how we react to the unexpected.
Exactly. Okay, so the next book is a debut novel, The River Has Roots, by Amal El-Motar.
El-Motar. Wait, I know that name.
Yeah, she co-wrote This Is How You Lose the Time War.
Right. That won all the awards.
But this new book is a solo project.
Interesting. I'm curious to see what she does on her own.
Yeah, it sounds completely different from Time War. This one tells the story of two sisters, Esther and Isabel.
Sisters. Okay.
And they're connected to the world of fairy. They care for these ancient magical willow trees.
Oh, wow. That sounds beautiful.
And there's a hint that their bond might even transcend death.
Oh, wow. So it's about family and grief and maybe even immortality.
It seems like exploring complex family relationships, especially between sisters, is another trend this year.
You're right. We've seen that in a few books already.
It makes sense, though. Family is such a universal theme.
And it offers so many possibilities for storytelling.
Exactly, from intense love to bitter rivalry and everything in between.
And I think El Motar, with her lyrical prose and ability to evoke deep emotion, she's the perfect author to explore those complexities.
Especially within this magical setting.
Definitely. Okay, so last on our list for today is The Devils by Joe Abercrombie.
Ah, Abercrombie, the king of grimdark fantasy.
Known for his morally gray characters and dark humor.
And lots of action.
So what's he got for us this time?
Well, this one is set outside his familiar First Law universe.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah, he's taking us to Europe.
I wonder if it'll be as grim as his other books.
Well, it follows this character, Brother Diaz, who's expecting a prestigious holy assignment.
Okay.
But instead, he gets stuck overseeing a group of less than saintly individuals.
Oh.
And their mission is to put a former thief on the throne.
Abercrombie and Thieves, a match made in heaven. Or hell, I guess.
It sounds a bit different in tone, maybe a little lighter.
Lighter. With Abercrombie, I'm not so sure.
Well, those characters are rarely what they seem.
True. There are always twists and betrayals.
Exactly. But it is interesting to see him venture outside his established world.
It's a gamble, for sure.
But he's earned a loyal fan base.
That's true. His readers trust him to deliver a compelling story.
So maybe this is a way for him to refresh his style and explore different themes.
While still retaining the core elements that make his work so popular.
Right. So we're seeing this trend of established authors branching out, taking risks.
Yeah, it keeps things fresh and exciting.
So as we've gone through these books, have you noticed any overarching trends, any themes that stand out?
Well, we've talked about a few already, like the resurgence of mythological retellings.
But with a twist.
Right. And the focus on complex family dynamics.
Especially sisters.
But there's another trend that I'm finding really intriguing. A lot of these books, even the ones with fantastical elements, seem to be grounded in very human anxieties.
Oh, I see what you mean. Like the pressure to succeed in Katabasis.
Yeah, and the fear of the unknown in When the Moon Hits Your Eye.
And even the exploration of toxic relationships in Bury Our Bones.
Exactly. It's like these authors are using fantasy and sci-fi to hold a mirror up to our own world.
And examine our collective fears and desires.
Precisely. They're saying, yes, there are dragons and vampires and cheese moons.
But at the heart of it all are these very human stories.
About ambition, love loss, and trying to make sense of the world.
Right. And it's that human element that makes these genres so powerful.
Absolutely. They allow us to explore these big questions in a safe space.
Through imagination and wonder.
Exactly. And they can be both entertaining and deeply resonant.
Offering escapism and insight at the same time.
Yeah. And speaking of pushing boundaries, we're also seeing authors challenge conventions and subvert expectations.
Like with Schwab's vampire novel.
And Scalzi's playful take on a folktale. It's exciting to see them experimenting with form and style.
While still respecting the core elements that readers love.
It feels like a time of creative ferment. A willingness to take risks.
And explore new territory.
And that's a good thing for both the genres and the readers.
It keeps things fresh, engaging, and ultimately more meaningful.
Exactly.
So with all these trends in mind, is there a particular direction you're most excited to see these genres explore further?
You know, I'm really drawn to the idea of exploring lesser-known mythologies and folklore.
Like what Casadei's doing with Mesopotamian mythology.
Yeah, exactly. There's so much rich material there waiting to be rediscovered.
And it ties in nicely with the trend of seeking diverse representation.
Yes. Exploring perspectives outside the dominant Western narratives.
It's like opening up a whole new world of stories and possibilities.
And it speaks to a larger cultural shift.
A desire to expand our understanding of the world.
And engage with different cultures and traditions.
Exactly. It's like we're seeing this renaissance, this fusion of the familiar and the unexpected.
And it makes you wonder, what does all of this say about sci-fi and fantasy as we head into 2025?
Right. Like, what does it tell us about the state of the genre?
I think it shows a genre that's vibrant and evolving, constantly pushing boundaries, but still deeply connected to the human experience.
It's like we're saying the future is wide open, full of possibilities.
Yeah.
And it's not just about the big names either. What about the new voices?
Yeah.
The debut authors, bringing fresh perspectives.
That's what makes it such an exciting time to be a reader. You have established authors like Schwab and Scalzi pushing themselves, and then these new voices like Amal El-Motar coming in ready to shake things up even further.
It's like this constant influx of energy and creativity.
And who knows what incredible stories will come out of that mix.
It makes you want to grab a stack of books and just dive in, right?
Right.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into these anticipated releases, what are you most excited about? What trends are you hoping to see more of in the coming year?
Well, personally, I'm always drawn to stories that make me think, that challenge my assumptions about the world.
I get that.
I love when an author takes a familiar trope like vampires or mythological creatures and flips it.
Forces you to reconsider your own ideas?
Exactly. And I'm always looking for stories that center diverse voices and perspectives that broaden our understanding of what it means to be human.
And I think that's something we can all agree on, right?
Yeah.
The power of stories to connect us, to challenge us, and to expand our horizons.
Absolutely.
So whether you're a seasoned sci-fi and fantasy fan or just starting to explore these amazing genres, I encourage you to check out the full list of 2025's most anticipated releases.
We'll have a link to the article in the episode description.
Yes, definitely check that out. And don't forget to share your own thoughts.
What books are you most excited about? What trends are you hoping to see more of?
Let's keep this conversation going.
Yeah, head over to our social media pages and let us know.
Absolutely. And until next time, happy reading.
Happy reading.